Alright, so September has come and gone of my no-buy year. How'd it go? Answer, not so great. Alright, so if you're not familiar with what a no-buy year is, for the entire calendar year, I am not to buy anything that isn't essential to my survival, something I can give to a friend, charitable contributions, or food. So the point for me of a no-buy year is to use up everything I have, to get familiar with my wardrobe, and to cut the consumeristic treadmill that I seem to be on, and really be mindful about my purchases, finding out what sparks joy for me, what kind of is meh, what I was doing out of routine and habit, and really understanding where my money goes and what gives me the most value for the dollars I do spend. So, though I can still give gifts to other people and make charitable contributions, I typically don't buy anything for my no-buy year, with the rare exceptions that if I have a pair of shoes that's irreplaceable, like I have one of that type and they break, I can try and fix them or I can replace them. But things like a pair of jeans, if I get a big hole in them, well, if I have other pairs of jeans for the rest of the year, if I have other things that could do in its place already on hand, instead of replacing it, I will simply utilize something else that's in my wardrobe or something in my beauty stash. So those are the rules for me. Alright, so as much as I would like to get into the giant screw up I had for the month of September, because it is very disappointing, I have a format to stick to for these recap videos. And first, I will do what tempted me for the month of September. Then I will talk a bit about what I spent my money on, my notable purchases. And finally, I get into my overall learnings for the month. So that all being said, let's get right into it for our September recap. Alright, first things first, Facebook targeting does it again. I was targeted for this awesome t-shirt from Ranger Up. They know my shopping and browsing preferences. And I saw this World War I memorial shirt that I thought the design was so striking. Here in the United States, we don't really commemorate the lives of those lost, our veterans that served, with the red poppy as much as they do in Canada and in the UK. But the red poppy, if you're not familiar, is a symbol of the lives lost and the bloodshed on the battlefield, especially in World War I. Alright, so the design is gorgeous, but the poem on the back really got me. This is a 1918 poem called "We Shall Keep the Faith," and it reads, "We cherish too the poppy red that grows on fields where valor led. It seems to signal to the skies, the blood of heroes never dies." Woof, right? That's very powerful, and I really love this shirt. They have it in a women's cut and also in a unisex cut. This was a $27.99 shirt, and I really loved it. I think if this design is still around in 2020, this will go on my purchase list, or maybe I'll get it for Christmas. But I am one who has a soft spot in my heart for those who have sacrificed their lives for our freedom and supporting veteran-owned organizations. And Ranger Up is run by veterans, and I think that's amazing. So I can't get this Paratrooper Poppy Field shirt just yet, but it will go on my wish list for 2020. Alright, so if you're a Target junkie, which I consider myself to be at least a reformed Target junkie, they recently brought a lot of their old favorites from collaborations of years past back, and they had this Target dress, which I had seen before and saw again and really loved it. I really would love some long maxi dresses, especially now that fall's coming around, even though it's still hot as balls in Texas. This dress was $35, and I thought it was hella classy. It went on my wish list for this month, but then when I spoke to my boss, who is a Target aficionado, she said that actually in person the fabric wasn't super great, and so maybe I shouldn't be super sad that I didn't get it. But this dress was $35, and I really liked it. I like the style, so even though I won't be purchasing this dress, mental note for next year, and also a great side effect of the no-buy year, is that I will know kind of the styles I'm looking for, or the things that I want to develop in my wardrobe, and a nice, classy black maxi dress. I have one in my closet already, but having another one of those, especially with like a floral print, would be a great addition to my wardrobe, and I will make that a mental note for later. And now I have $35 saved. Alright, these last three are going to be rapid fire because they're all from the same category. As you know, I've been lusting over nail polishes, and I've used up some of my favorite pearlescent nail polishes over the course of the year, and I asked y'all on Instagram stories if, even though I used up a bottle or two of my nail polish in my favorite pearly white shade, if I could justify a purchase of new nail polish, and you unanimously said, no girl, don't buy any damn nail polish, use up what you have, even though it's not your favorite shade. Noted, so I didn't. Except for the fact that when I saw Julep advertising that they had 3 pearlescent shades, on clearance for $6.99 a bottle. Normally they're way more than that, like double that. I was like, dude, $6.99 a bottle. Julep is one of my favorite brands, even though they're under new ownership right now. I really love their polishes, and I couldn't beat up the fact that they were on clearance, but unfortunately, no buy year, I can't buy them. But happy update, very happy update. My aforementioned boss is a gem of a human being, and she saw my Instagram story where I was being a giant baby and saying I wanted these polishes, and she purchased the Aretha nail polish for me and 2 others, which are gorgeous. One is called Gratitude, and it is a beautiful, like, deep garnet that is perfect for fall. So even though I didn't buy these 3 $6.99 polishes, I got 3 polishes from my boss, and she is a gem of a human being, so thank you so much to her, because I almost cried when I got the damn polishes. I'm not even gonna lie. All right, so what does that get me for the month of September? I saved $83.96. So I would have to say this is my lightest month to date in terms of temptations. And I'll get into why I think that is in just a minute, but $83.96, not too shabby for September. All right, and now let's get into the dirt you've all been waiting for. Yes, the dirt. How did Shannon screw up her no-buy year 9 months in? Let me tell you, friends, take a seat, because this is embarrassing and not super fun to share. In fact, I was like, is there any way I could not mention this in my video? Because it stings real bad and I didn't want you to know, but for the sake of being absolutely honest and transparent of my process, I figured I had to come clean and tell you. So we're gonna get right into my notable purchases for September, and you can see exactly how your girl screwed up. Let's go. All right, my first notable purchase for the month of September, as hinted, was kind of a doozy. Shannon made a mistake. I'm just gonna get out there and say it. Your girl screwed up. You have heard me mention the Happy Rebel box in previous episodes, where it was one of my temptations that I wanted to renew my subscription. And I was like, no, I don't want to renew my subscription because it's a no-buy year. Well, unfortunately, I didn't realize my Happy Rebel box was on a credit card I don't really use anymore, and it was on an automatic renewal. Yeah. And I just renewed my subscription for the entire year. That's 4 boxes. They come out every quarter for a total of $411.35. You can see why I was dreading telling you. Not only did I fail my no-buy year, but I failed in the most spectacular way possible. That is a huge fail. So at the beginning of the year, for full transparency, I went through anything I thought could be a problem in the course of the year, and I canceled all of my subscriptions. I thought anything that would renew, any other subscription boxes I had, because I had a few, I thought I canceled everything, that nothing was on an automatic renewal. This one unfortunately was, and it was on a credit card I just frankly forgot to check. This sucker only renews once a year, and quite frankly, I just plumb forgot. And you know, honestly, I emailed the coordinator of the Happy Rebel box and asked her if I could cancel it the day after I saw the transaction went through. She's a small business owner and a peach of a human being, and she said, unfortunately, I can't cancel your subscription because it's gone through. And I realized that I made a $411.35 mistake. It was a big whoopsie. And I have been a founding member of the Happy Rebel box. Honestly, it brings me a lot of joy. I love all the items. In fact, this necklace I'm just wearing from one of the, I think it was the first Happy Rebel box. I often use many of the items that are in the box, and I would have to say it's worth every penny. But it's embarrassing to say that I missed this big thing, that I should have looked at my old credit card that I thought I had even canceled, and I missed this thing. And then of course, when push came to shove, and I could have really pushed the issue, it's a small business it's run by an amazing individual who I really love doing business with and supporting, and I freaking screwed up. So yeah, that doesn't feel good. I dealt with a lot of shame when this happened throughout the entire month of oh my God, I'm gonna have to record this video and share with everyone who's been following my journey that I screwed up. And not just a little screw up, a $400 screw up, which was pretty painful to share. But I realized that I had to tell you about it, and I think I will reflect more on this a little bit later in my learnings portion of the video, but I had to share with you that this is one of the big purchases I made in general, but also it was one I wasn't supposed to make under the rules of my no-buy year, but being a non-refundable purchase, it is what it is, and gosh darn it, I will not lie to you. All right, that being said, September was also a very expensive month beyond that very expensive whoopsie I just had. Great. I also had some big expenses. I traveled to Washington, D.C. this month for FinCon. I go to FinCon every single year. I've only missed one, and that was San Diego, for those of you who've been to FinCon. And I went to D.C. this year and had a blast, but it also meant that I spent about $300 in cab rides, food, and that wasn't even like everything. It was just like getting everything I needed to get there, and then, boarding my dogs and things like that. I spent an extra around $300. I haven't added it all up yet because some of it's a business write-off, but that was expensive for me this month. And also at FinCon, they always sell the tickets for the following year while you're at the event, and they do it at a steep discount. So I bought the tickets for next year, which will be in like September, October in Long Beach, California. I got that ticket for $200, but that's a limited time offer, so you have to buy it right then and there. Otherwise, you don't get the discount. And that was about $500 for FinCon related expenses in the month of September. Ouch. Alright guys, I'm happy to share that 2 of my notable purchases are going to be holiday travel, which I'm very excited to share. I finally booked my ticket home to see my dad and the rest of my family for December, and that cost me $311.96, but it is money well spent. I also booked a trip to Florida, which I am freaking pumped about, and that cost me $288.96. And I booked those both with Southwest, and I could have used travel rewards for those, but I'm hoarding my points as much as I can to go to Japan hopefully next year. And so that $500 and some dollars, $600 and some dollars for those 2 tickets out of San Antonio was worth every penny, and I cannot wait to see it. I'm happy to share that the ticket to Florida is actually a fun addition to my life. I'm actually going to see my kidney recipient and his family. They were beyond sweet and invited me to one of their family gatherings that they're going to be having in Florida, and I was beyond touched and knew I had to book a ticket. I can't wait to see my recipient and meet more of his family and spend time with them. I met them very briefly during the transplant process when I gave him my kidney this year, but they were wonderful, and I'm happy to also share, this is great, and it kind of negates the shitty feeling I had about spending and messing up my no-buy year with the fact that I'm happy to share my recipient is out of the danger zone for kidney rejection. So that's an interesting thing that happens when you donate a kidney. It is walking a tightrope after your recipient gets your organ to make sure that they don't go into rejection and end up losing the organ and nullifying everything you did. And he has been working with his team relentlessly to make sure that the organ stays in place and works for him. And it's been a lot of medication adjustments, many last minute trips to the doctor, trips to the hospital. He's had a bunch of problems, but he shared with me this last week that they look like they're in the clear right now and things are turning up. He's feeling better, and some of the high risk things that were happening with different virus counts and things like that, and he's feeling great. So happy to share that news, very happy to share that news, and I cannot wait to see him and his family in December, and I was happy to spend that money. So I don't normally add up my notable purchases this month, but because I had some pretty large purchases go out the door, I added up everything I spent for September, and it was a whopping $1,512.27. Ouch, right? I had a very light month for my temptations. Sometimes, I'll save $700. This month I only saved $83.96, and I spent $1,512. So it didn't really feel super good to see that money go out the door and have to dip into some of my reserves to pay for my Happy Rebel box and things like that, and FinCon. But they're all very good purchases, and other than the fact that I screwed up my no-buy year, I don't have any regrets. Alright guys, it's time to share my September learnings with you. And as I've already gotten into, I think one of the biggest learnings was, holy crap, I was 9 months into my no-buy year and I screwed up pretty royally. And that feels pretty awful, I'm not gonna lie to you. One of the fast learnings I would say from this is that if you don't check your credit cards thoroughly and you're not really sure about your subscriptions, just double check them. Take an inventory at the beginning of your no-buy year and make sure you check all your credit cards for recurring purchases, you check your subscriptions, and you just really be thorough, because I thought I was and I missed this. And, I really beat myself up over this because it wasn't just a little whoopsie, it was a big whoopsie. It was a $411 expense. Yeah, $411 is a lot to screw up over. But at the end of the day, in some weird way, after beating myself up for over 2.5 weeks and dreading recording this video to share it with you, I have to say that I'm still kind of proud of the fact that I didn't do this on purpose, and I didn't just like say, oh, it's just one purse, or oh, it's just one makeup palette, it's fine, and then like kind of like slip it under the radar. This was like a genuine mistake. And so I'm still very proud of all of the progress that I've made of that. I haven't bought any of my worst offenders, typically, which are body washes, had way too many. You know, makeup, had way too much of it. Candles, had a brick ton. I haven't bought any clothes for the entire scope of the year. No coffee mugs, like no nothing. I haven't bought anything that wasn't really necessary, and this was a genuine mistake. So a quick learning other than that is just triple check your credit cards and make sure you comb through everything to make sure you kill any recurring expenses, any subscriptions, and really go through credit cards. Like this credit card, I don't even use it anymore. I have it just for the Marriott rewards points that I get every year, but that's why I didn't check it. It just was at the back of my mind and I wasn't thinking about it. I got busy and I could have caught this, and quite frankly, I didn't. I failed. I really dreaded recording this video and sharing with you after all of the time and effort you guys have been putting into following my journey. I was just worried about sharing this with you. But honestly, in some weird way, I feel that maybe it's good to screw up once in a while because it's real. And I know that so many of you have shared, and some of my friends that are also doing no by years or no by quarters or no by months, where they've had failures, and you have to decide. A big learning is to decide what you're going to do in the face of failure. Are you going to learn from it? Are you going to give up? Are you going to beat yourself up for it? Or are you going to realize that this is really good data? And this was good data for me. I've already learned so much by abstaining from purchasing the things I used to mindlessly buy. But in the face of failure, looking at yourself good and hard in the mirror, how are you going to do now? And I have to say that this big screw up hasn't negated all of the progress I've made in all the other categories. And I'm very proud of everything I've accomplished. It doesn't feel good to admit to somebody on the internet that I screwed up in such a silly way. But hey, if you fail, I guess fail big. And God knows I failed big this month. So yeah, September learnings, right? Number 1, check your credit cards, even the ones you haven't used in 2 years, because sometimes they're tied to subscription services you thought you canceled. Also check your emails and make sure that if there's a warning, hey, your subscription's about to renew, that you pay attention to them and act on them quickly. Also, woof. Decide how you're going to handle failure. If you screw up during your no buy year, like I did, what are you going to do? Are you going to give up and start over from day one, or are you going to keep going? Are you going to find the silver lining? And are you going to learn from that mistake of, A, what could I have done better? How can I take responsibility for this? And how can I prevent this from happening again? I would have to say that sometimes in our failures, that is the lesson is the blessing, right? And I've learned a big lesson that I still made so much progress and done the emotional work of what it means to stop just shopping mindlessly. But out of all the ways I could have screwed up this year, I have to say I feel good that it wasn't just like me giving in to temptation. It was just literally a stupid oversight. But long story long, failure is still failure and it never feels good. But I had to be honest and share it with you. And I would love to know your comments down below, like how you would handle something like this, or if you've experienced something like this, because I hope you learn from my successes, but God willing, you learn from my failures too. All right, guys, that does it for my September recap. This was probably the one recap I really dreaded recording, but for the sake of full transparency, I knew I had to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth about my shortcomings and failures, especially this month. So here you have it, Shannon on a platter. Woof. Thank you again so much for spending your time with me today. You could have done anything with these few minutes of your life, but you chose to spend them with me. Thank you so much for all of your support and encouragement this year as you also go down a path of exploring what makes you tick and hopefully not just giving in to automatic responses and shopping mindlessly. I really love that many of you are on the same journey or a similar journey of questioning what you do and why you do it, and really bringing back a little bit more wonder in your life to explore the who you are and the what you're about. So thank you for sharing a little bit of your journey with me this month. All right, guys, so until the next video, stay beautiful, stay sparked, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. No, but really, it is really embarrassing to screw up this big. Like, really, not a great feeling. Not great. No.